Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about why No Fap works. I've been doing No Fap for about 45 days. I've lost track of the days. I've decided not to count every single day what day I'm up to because it sort of puts my mind. Um, it feels like my mind's more inclined to the placebo effect if I keep reminding myself I'm on No Fap and that doing No Fap will give me the energy and um, ability to be a better person and have better qualities such as ability to read, concentrate better while reading. Um, Not just ability to read, it's everyone can read, but what I'm saying is that brahmacharya, also known as nofap, I say brahmacharya because you can search that up on Google and that gives you a very detailed Eastern mystic sort of explanation of nofap. Um, but with nofap, it is a practice where you learn to stop looking at the opposite sex as objects of pleasure. When you do this, you learn to communicate with people on a higher level where you see them as just people and beyond the body. In Hinduism, they talk about how the body is attached to the soul if you are still caught up in carnal desires, such as gluttony, but mainly sex desire. So with NoFap, you learn to disengage from your lust. Um, in Buddhism and in Hinduism, it says sense pleasures are the problem. However, we can't just not do anything. So the skillful thing to do is to learn how to control the obvious forces that alter our behavior towards a less evolved human being. So these are anger, lust, ego, uh, feeding your ego. Um, so NoFap allows you to take a step back from yourself in situations to have more control, to not get caught up in the mind that is driven by animal instincts. When you get captured by sex desire, you're sort of in two minds. You're not really yourself. You're entranced in the desire. You don't know what you're doing really. It's usually an awkward experience, and you'll probably be frustrated afterwards. After masturbation, you'll probably feel depleted. You'll feel like you've wasted time doing this. You could have spent 2 days with a lot more mental energy reading books that give you insight rather than wasting your life force in masturbation, through masturbation. So taking a step back in those situations where you feel the lust and not repressing it, but being kind to it, being patient with it, not letting it control you, and then you realize that desire doesn't run your life anymore and that you're operating on a more peaceful level. So NoFap makes you feel more calm overall. You have high testosterone in general. Testosterone is not about rage, testosterone is about calmness, assertiveness, uh, keeping a cool head. It's about seeing things more clearly. I believe males who are celibate or practice brahmacharya, same thing, no fap. I think ultimately brahmacharya, full celibacy, is the healthiest thing for males in order to reach spiritual enlightenment, self-actualization, meditation while on no fap and brahmacharya celibacy is a great practice to also aid in the dissolution of a desire, to become closer to stillness and allow the thoughts to come in when they need to, allowing your mind to relax and allowing more insight and clarity instead of always bogging yourself down with information. It's good to meditate as well for NoFap. instead of reading on No Fap forums all the time about how to conquer No Fap, I'd say try meditation, try exercise, learn those techniques such as meditation exercise that delay your gratification, because No Fap is about delaying your gratification. I found on Brahmacharya I feel 8 out of 10 in general throughout the day. Without it, I may feel good 10 out of 10 for the 5 minutes that I masturbate, but then I feel 4, 3, 2, very depressed in certain phases and unhappy, and averaging a 5 at best when fapping regularly, as it distorts your clarity, you get brain fog. It releases a lot of dopamine. It releases as much as a hit of heroin in the brain, maybe only momentary. But removing that from your life, you're sort of coming out of a serious addiction. People don't see it as a serious addiction, but when you compare someone who's been masturbating regularly and watching porn to someone who's decided to give that up, there's generally a very big shift in the person. I'd recommend even just starting with 7 days. It's a good habit to think about, okay, I've only got 7 days of this, instead of such a big lifelong thing. At least know through that experience what it's like to make the judgment. I can give you as much theory as you like. However, practicing No Fap is the best thing to do. Start now. As you watch this video, you're already 6 minutes abstinent. If you recently, or like, you know what I mean, like every minute it gets easier and easier. The urges get less. You become more confident in yourself because you learn how to control your desires. You can exercise more. Combining No Fap with a vegan diet, or a diet that where you treat your body more carefully, you treat your food like medicine, will really give you 2 solid pillars of health, along with exercise and meditation. Of those big 4 pillars, exercise, meditation, diet, and No Fap, particularly Brahmacharya, celibacy, will likely yield a very confident person. It may not be in 2 weeks, it may not be in a month, but that person, by practicing these habits on a day-to-day basis, will gain more confidence than someone who is deluded through masturbation and porn. It's a longer path. Doing No Fap towards pleasure, it's more of a spread out pleasure throughout the day in little things, and it's good to bring up those little things, such as trees look better outside. It's good to notice that the trees look better. Really enjoy that. Really enjoy just being alive. I don't think life's all about action. No Fap you may be thinking, oh yeah, I can now work 60 hours a week on No Fap. Whereas it's funny, I remember reading in a Hindu text about No Fap and celibacy. You get so content within yourself that like you can just sort of be, and you sort of naturally are inclined towards meditation, towards those activities that raise you in the higher chakra system. I don't look at the chakra system as some solidified system. I know that exists in science, but as something, as a rough guide to understand where pleasures lie in different levels throughout the body. Use it with a loose grip, because it's just a way of conveying information. So when I say a chakra system, I believe that a bad diet, no exercise, no meditation, and fapping and porn keeps you in the base desires, keeps keeps you going around in circles with chasing those momentary pleasures. Orgasm, you don't even really know you're having an orgasm. You sort of lose yourself in the moment. Whereas awakening comes from taking a step back and being the observer, witness of life more. Doesn't mean being inactive, but sort of being in the world but not of it. Like while you're acting, you're watching how you're doing it. You're very mindful of your actions. You're very mindful of your speech. Meditation teaches this. Brahmacharya teaches this. No Fap. So I definitely recommend No Fap. Cold showers are also a good habit to get into. Running is a great thing to do regularly. Uh, if you have any projects, try and keep your mind on that. Reading books, uh, socializing more. You generally feel more extroverted and personable with people on no fap celibacy. You feel more confident where you stand. You can speak your mind more easily. You're um, you can quickly figure out the solution in a situation and use that and getting that in the calmest way possible. Whereas when you're masturbating and watching porn regularly, your mind is on a frenzy. It's always sort of half here, half not, because it's so attached to seeking um, sexual gratification because it's such a strong force. If you learn to calm down anger, sex desire, and greed and that sort of thing, you can, but particularly sex desire, because it is the force that pushes man to do all things. Friedrich Nietzsche said, "Sex desire drives all action," or something along the lines of that. And you can tell, like, men work all day hard, um, with the back of their head knowing that they could be scoring a woman at the end of the day or something like that. Um, Whereas if you practice Brahmacharya, you do actions with the intentions of improving yourself. So it's not attached to conditions so much. You're always with yourself. So you come back to what you began with and what will really help you understand yourself and life, which is about becoming more accepting of your own space, liking yourself more. A lot of people are always attached to their partners, whereas with celibacy, no fap, you learn to be alone more. Even though you enjoy talking to people more, you realise that everyone is on their own life path. They all have their own desires, what they want to do, and you realise that it is important to spend time alone and read and reflect on things that make sense to you. Reading koans in Zen Buddhism, for example, while you're alone on Brahmacharya, may be something that you suddenly become interested in doing, instead of, because you've overseen the desire, sex desire, and now that your mind is free from that, it's sort of unchained, and now it can you allow your mind through this practice of no fap to unravel insight from um, other levels, because no fapping sort of puts a block in the way of that. So for tips on how to do no fap, with your urges, realize that it's a lot more satisfying overcoming those urges than caving into them. Not overcoming them as in thinking, "Oh, I hate this thought of sex, go away, I don't want to think about this." The next thing that'll happen is you'll have a dream where that suppressed desire expresses itself. So the best thing to do is to look at it with equanimity, which is acceptance, and eventually the thought will come along like it's sort of like an old picture, and it's sort of, you look at it different now because it's been put down. When thoughts have been put down and not engaged after a while, it's like your mind has a different perspective. So after a while, you'll be confident in containing your urges, and in situations be more conscious about what's happening. When you don't want to be doing something, you can think, okay, I have this, I can do this, without getting wound up in emotions. You calmly think about the rational choice. No fap gives you that understanding on how to better face situations, and I believe everyone is interested in becoming a better person and facing situations more mindfully, so that they can be happier, others can be happier, and as humans, we're here to learn. The world is here to be understood, and I am keen to always be learning about life and to come to a better understanding of as to what we're doing here. Chasing sex and that it doesn't satisfy me. I want the deeper understanding of life. My personality type's INTP, and I can definitely relate to the type, as I'm content just being alone with my thoughts, reading and understanding different things to gain that satisfaction of knowing. Not to be a know-it-all, but there's great satisfaction for INTPs in particular to understand what life's about, what we're doing here. So NoFap is definitely a great tool in the toolbox of personal development, and I definitely recommend it. Start with 7 days. Be patient with yourself. Give meditation a bit of go. Try 5 minutes a day to start with. Time it. Just 5 minutes a day. Just think, today I'm going to meditate, and watch your mind struggle against it. No, I don't want to meditate. I'll watch TV instead. But by being kind to your mind, thinking rationally, no, meditation is a good thing to do, you'll learn to implement that. And not only will you gain a better perspective on NoFap and meditation, you'll also start enjoying running more, you start enjoying reading more. And these foundations are the stepping stones for a better person. Thank you for watching.